A federal judge just ordered a 6'2" male child predator into a women's prison. She called the risk to the female inmates theoretical. This isn't just ideology, this is a direct threat to women's safety, and you are about to see the insane justification behind it.
A female.
Sorry, what I meant to say was hormonally a female.
Okay, but that's not entirely. Did this individual have male genitalia?
Yes.
So you took a 6'2" serial rapist, serial child rapist with male genitalia, and he said, you know, I'd like to be in a women's prison. And your answer was, that sounds great to me. Let me ask you something. The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Is that a question you're
Yes,
asking me?
the other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Of course.
Do they have the right not to have a 6'2" man who is a repeat serial rapist put in as their cellmate?
Senator Cruz, I considered the facts presented to me, and I reached a decision based on what the law
I asked you a
is.
question. Do they have a right not to have a 6'2" man who is a serial rapist put in as their cellmate? Do those women have a right to that?
Every person who's incarcerated has the right to be safe in their space.
But you didn't think so. You didn't think so. And in fact, I'm going to give some quotes from your order because Senator Kennedy is right. This is not a judge's order. This is a political activist. By the way, the beginning of your order says, at birth, people are typically assigned a gender. I got to say that would astonish a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans think you go to the hospital, a baby is born, and congratulations, you have a little boy, a little girl. The assigned a gender, I know you went to Brown, but it sounds like it's in a college faculty lounge with no bearing on reality. The Bureau of Prison argued what I'm saying right now, that if you put this person in a female prison, there will be a risk of sexual assault to the women. And you know what you did? You said you didn't care about the women. I'm going to quote what you wrote. You wrote, quote, the Bureau of Prisons claim penological interest in protecting female prisoners from sexual violence and trauma. This interest is legitimate, that's kind of you to say, but there are no signs that petitioner is at risk of reoffending. The record is devoid of evidence of incidents of violence or assault during petitioner's incarceration when she was the perpetrator, only the victim. A theoretical risk of sexual assault by the prisoner without more cannot support the BOP's position. No evidence, theoretical. Have you dealt, in what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at a risk of reoffending?
Senator, as I do in every case.
I know you've been told to repeat the line, I follow the law. I asked a question. In what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at risk of reoffending?
Sir, I looked at the facts that were before me in this case. All of the evidence, including the statements of every warden who had supervised this petitioner.
You also wrote, the BOP also posits that permitting petitioner to live among women will be traumatizing and possibly dangerous to them. This concern is overblown. I have to say, if I were the father of one of those women, and you decided that my daughter's cellmate was going to be a 6'2" man who over and over and over again committed violent sexual assault, I would say the entire justice system is absurd, and it is clear on your record your political ideology matters a heck of a lot more than the rights of those women that you endangered. I think you're a radical, and I think you have no business being a judge.
Judge Netburn, there was an opportunity during your exchange with Senator Cruz that you were attempting to offer a response relative to the conditions under which this petitioner was unsafe in the facilities in which she was being held. I'd like to offer you the opportunity to finish that response.
So the facts that were presented to me and what I relied on to make my decision were that the petitioner had engaged in no violence, no physical violence, no acts of sexual violence whatsoever while in custody. All three wardens who supervised the petitioner requested that she be transferred to a women's facility because of her serious medical needs. In addition, the Bureau of Prisons' longtime medical provider testified at a 2-day hearing in my courtroom and recommended that the petitioner be transferred because of her serious medical needs. And the last thing I'll say is that the Transgender Executive Council, which is the body that makes decisions on behalf of transgender transfer requests within the Bureau of Prisons, never said that the petitioner could not be transferred, and never, ever said that she couldn't be transferred because of any risk of violence.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Jace Manwa channel. It is an honor to have you with me today, patriots. Before we get into it, if you believe in truth, common sense, and the foundational principles of this great nation, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support is what allows us to cut through the noise and get to the heart of what's really happening in our country. Today, we are looking at a truly stunning piece of footage that exposes the dangerous rot of ideology that has infested our judicial system. I'm talking about a courtroom exchange where a judge's own words reveal a complete disconnect from reality and a disturbing willingness to put innocent people in harm's way to serve a political agenda. Let's break this down. The video starts with a judge claiming that her personal political ideology doesn't matter, that she just applies the law to the facts. We hear this a lot, don't we? But as Senator Ted Cruz masterfully demonstrates, for many on the left, that is simply not the case. The ideology comes first, and the facts are twisted to fit it. Senator Cruz brings up a specific case, and this is where it gets chilling. He talks about a defendant, a biological male, who committed heinous crimes against children, a 9-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl. This individual was already a repeat offender who violated parole. He was later convicted on child pornography charges. This is not some low-level offender, this is a dangerous predator. Now, here's the core of the issue. This individual, a 6'2" biological male, decides to identify as a female. And the judge in this video, unbelievably, refers to this person as entirely a female. When pressed, she walks it back slightly to hormonally a female, but admits he still has male genitalia. Let that sink in. Senator Cruz then asks the question that any sane person would ask. Why would you order this 6'2" serial child rapist with male genitalia to be housed in a women's prison? He asks a simple, powerful question. Do the other women in that prison have a right not to have a man as a cellmate? The judge's response is a weak, generic platitude. Every incarcerated person has a right to be safe. But what about the safety of the female inmates who are now forced to share their space with a male predator? Her actions completely contradict her words. She prioritizes the feelings and identity of a violent criminal over the actual, physical safety of women. It gets even worse. Senator Cruz points out that in her own order, this judge dismissed the risk of this individual reoffending as merely theoretical. Theoretical? For the women locked in a prison with him, that risk is very, very real. This is the direct result of an ideology that denies basic biological reality and elevates the desires of a predator over the rights and safety of law-abiding, or at least nonviolent, citizens. The judge attempts to justify her decision by saying the criminal hadn't been violent while in custody and that wardens requested a transfer for serious medical needs. This is a classic misdirection. The fundamental issue isn't whether his hormone levels are stable, it's whether he poses a threat to women. And the answer is an undeniable yes. Her decision is not based on law or safety, it's based on a radical political agenda that is endangering lives. This is what happens when activism replaces jurisprudence on the bench. We get judges who are more concerned with appearing progressive than with upholding justice and protecting the innocent. This isn't about compassion. It's a dangerous dereliction of duty. That's all I have for today, patriots. This is the fight we are in. A fight for reality, for safety, and for the soul of our justice system. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Stay vigilant, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.